Okay, let's have a closer look at content types. And for that, we're going to go back to the structure, which I just noticed has the description, administered blocks, content types, menus, etc. Views, taxonomy, menus, display modes, content types, contact forms, comment types, block layout. Content types it is. All right, so we have, as we already reviewed, the article and basic page. Let's go ahead and create a new content type. And we're going to call this one Star Wars. This is a yet about to be made up on the spot. No idea what I'm doing or why we're doing it. I mean, something like that. So if we have a look, again, I'm going to put this right here. Open a new tab, maybe. What do we want to do? Let's go back here on the home page, and we're going to go to content, add content, article. So it has the title field, as does the basic page, title. That can be renamed to anything you like. Not the title. And it's as simple as that. Let's go ahead and maximize this again. So Star Wars, it's going to show up on the add content page here. Publishing. Oh, we didn't look at this yet. Preview before submitting. I never or rarely use that. Let's go ahead and disable it. You can do it as you please. Explanation or submission guidelines. There are no rules. Publishing options. We looked at the functionality of sticky at the top of lists and promote the front page. So this is where you set the defaults. And if you recall, assuming you watched the previous video, when you create an article, that option is selected by default. But when you create a page, it is not. So articles are typically created a lot more frequently and displayed in lists and on front pages, whereas a basic page is usually something like the About Us or our mission, excuse me, where they're pretty static and they're in a menu somewhere usually, or just linked from other content. Whereas articles should be constantly updated and published. Excuse me. Okay, back to the defaults. If for whatever reason, maybe you're the type of person who accidentally publishes content when you meant to publish a draft. So if you uncheck the published option as the default, that's less likely to happen. So let's try it out. Creating a revision. If you're creating a static page, it's not likely to change a lot. Or it's a type of page that's not likely to change a lot. You might not want to use the revision functionality. So let's try that too. And on our Star Wars page, we're not going to display the author, like the admin user, and what time it was published, like the article does. Not there. We'll go to content. As you can see, we have an article type, and I'll point out that you can filter it, what you're looking for up here. So if we had 100 basic pages and one article buried somewhere, we can at least filter it down to the article. And as I said, this article is showing the admin user, which is clickable, and the date. So if you don't want that, let's uncheck it. Menu settings. When we created some content, Let's try another basic page. Apologize if I'm going too quick. What was that? Main navigation. Yes. So in the menu settings, when we're creating a page and we say provide a menu link, down in the parent link drop down, we only have main navigation available. So if you want other available options, which I can point to, manage, we want to go to home. We go to home. This is the user menu, and this is the main navigation right here. So let's try adding user account menu to the available menus options. And why not the footer as well? Default parent link. If we uncheck these, it should only show the main. And when we check them, we get the other options: footer, main, and account. So let's make account the default, then go to save and manage fields. And this is where you can set up all the fields available in the default Drupal install. So if we add field, we'll see the same screen we did when we added the ranking in the previous video. So there's quite a bit of options. We're not diving into every single one in this video, but we'll just try a file field. That's a pretty common one to be adding, and it's pretty important. So let's call it my file, just like that. You can add spaces if you like. Enable display field. The display option allows users to choose if a file should be shown when viewing the content. Yes, we will enable that. Files displayed by default. The setting only has an effect if this display option, if the display option is enabled. Let's say files displayed by default. We have a public files, which we can see command line. We are in our ddev Drupal install here. Let me make that a bit bigger. We'll go to, well, first of all, let's see a directory listing with ls-al. And you can see we are already in the web directory. The Drupal root is right here. cd .. to get back one directory. ls-al. We have vendor, web, and some hidden files in one hidden directory in the composer files. All right, so from here, you want to go to cd web/sites, which we saw up here, but I didn't point out. And within sites, why not go into it and have a nice little look at it with the ls-al. There's the default directory where we'll find files. But it's important that I show you the whole kit and caboodle. cd default ls-al, whatever way you want. There it is, files. So that's what it's talking about when it says public files. Inside files, we should find some temporary files from the Drupal cache and mashing together CSS and whatnot. More into that later, but we'll keep that open so we can have a look when we test it out. Now we want to save. No, I forgot the allowed number of values. So if you want to be able to have unlimited amount of files per node, there it is. It's that simple. If you want to limit it to, say, 15, save settings. Finally, I think it's finally, but we can totally customize the field. All right, the label is what we selected before. Like I said, you can put a space in if you like, but I'm going to keep it that way. Instructions to present to the user below this field on the editing form. Fire away up to 15 files. Required? No. This is a very important field, which is why it's required. By default, it only allows uploading TXT. Let's say we want to do PDFs, put a comma between each file extension. PDFs, docx, whatever, doc, Word docs, Excel, or CSV. You can keep going and going. Each extension can contain alphanumeric. Yeah, well, I'm not going to get into what file extensions are. You should know that by now. Maximum upload size. Let's see. The server determines what that can be. If you're on a DDEV install like then you have 100 megabytes by default. But hosting web hosts will have different allowable file sizes. It's really up to them and the resources available and what you get for whatever you paid. So you can set it up to that anyway. We'll say 20 MB or just 20. Oh, it's 20 MB with a space between. Enable description field. The description field allows users to enter a description about the uploaded file. Sure, why not? Save. And there you have it. We have a field. My file. Machine name. That's for when you are doing some custom module or theming. That becomes important. Field type file, obviously. And then you can edit it, delete it. I don't think you can modify the storage settings. Once you use it, this is off limits pretty much. It'll give you a warning. We'll have a look at that in a sec. So we want to now go back to site, or not really. We want to go to content, add content, Star Wars. There are no rules, not the title, body, text format. We didn't look at that. Standard CK editor or WYSIWYG functionality. And there's my file. Fire away up to 15 files. Maximum 15 files, 20 MB limit allowed. Types, TXT, PDF, docx, doc, and CSV. Let's open a new tab. No to updating. I'm going to go into my home directory with a cd space tilde. And from here, I'm going to, which will create a new file, my csv.csv. Enter. And it'll be vim my csv.csv and add a couple of values for fun. Say my name, Jones, and John. Jane. Well, that was a shift colon W, enter. U, bang. Don't need that tab anymore. We have a CSV file to upload. So add a new file. Oh, did I click it? Yes, I did. Display. If you recall, that was when we said if the file can be displayed or not by default. Maybe not by default. Description. A test CSV file. And we can do that up to 15 times. And if you recall, we got rid of the default publish state, and we'll try it out. Save. please fill out not the title. Oh, CSV test. And before we look at the menu and the rest, we'll hit save for the non-published state. And there you have it. We have a Node 5, a so-called Star Wars content type. So when you go to add content, it's right there. So that's the basics of a content type. And we're going to edit it to publish it. And I guess we did not disable new revisions at all. It was just whether or not it's clicked by default. We'll leave it off. Menu settings, provide a menu link. Let's pop it in the user account menu, giving it a weight of, let's just say 5, so it ends up at the end. URL alias, we'll try CSV-test. And in the authoring information, we're not going to touch. Promotion options, promoted to front page. That's good enough. Publish, save. And we now have, on the home page even, CSV test under the sticky testing ranking field we did in the last video. But as you can see, there is no file field by default on this list. That's a whole nother matter of editing this view. And we'll do that in a later video. But if we have a look at CSV test, there's our ATEST CSV file sitting at 32 bytes. I guess you can try testing the upper limits of that 50 or 20 MB if you want, but you can trust that it will give you an error if you try to upload a 21 megabyte file or 20.1. Anyhow, from this page, you can view the revisions that we don't have, except the one. You can delete it, edit it, view it, and please note up here, CSV test is in the URL, and it didn't end up in the middle, but it's right there, CSV test. You can play with the weights or reorder the menu. You can structure menus. You can go over this a little bit later, but this is the general, the admin page. I can't help myself. I'm going to click the edit menu and show you right there. It's that simple. But if you missed that, we can get into it in the next video or one of the next videos. Thanks for watching.